Hi. There's something I learned when I was in school, and I think it's something you learn as you're in school that's true, but I think maybe leaves us with some misdirected information. And I wanted to try to see if I can add to that a little bit. I learned in school, and I think you learned in school, that the surface of the earth is covered with what percent of water? It's a big percent. 75%, 3/4, and it looks that way. You know, 3/4 of the world covered with water, which is true, but it's on the surface. And I think it leaves the impression that there is a lot of water, which there isn't. A couple months ago, I came across this graphic from the U.S. Geological Survey, and they're the men and women that accurately measure the things like the earth and the amount of water. And they produced this graphic, and they said that if you took all the water in the oceans, all the water in the rivers and streams and lakes, all the water in the plants and animals, all the water in the ground, it would equal a globe 860 miles in diameter. And so, on my own 12-inch globe, I've added a proportional sphere, which is a little over an inch and represents that 860 miles. It's not a lot of water. Do you believe it? For that to be true, the amount of water in the oceans would have to be very, very, very thin. And it is. And here's how I'm going to try to explain it to you. You take the surface area of this sphere, and surface area is determined by 4 pi r squared. I had to look that up. The surface area of this 12-inch globe is about 452 square inches. So then I took 452 and I found the square root of it, which is about 21.25. So I cut out a sheet of paper, the same size. So the square inches here is the same as the square inches of this sphere. And then I cut out a sheet of paper with 1/4 of it missing. This is about 330 square inches, which is the amount of surface area that water represents. And it's very thin. You can almost see my hand through it. And I looked up the thickness of tissue paper, and the proportion of the thickness of tissue paper to this globe is about the same as the average depth of the ocean to the thickness of the earth. Average depth is about 2 miles. And what I want to do is, if this is all the water in the world, you crush it, and I can't crush it all, well, it makes a little tiny ball. There's really not that much water. 860 miles in diameter. So we can add that to our knowledge of 70%, 5% of the world is covered with water, but in fact it only represents a little tiny ball of water. Thanks.